Hello and welcome to Vitush Academy. Today we'll be solving the following problem. We have two equations. Equation 1, x plus y equals 1, and equation 2, x minus 2 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 8. And what we're going to do is we're going to see where these two equations intersect each other. So first we'll start with x plus y equals 1. What can we do here? We can change the bit and we can say y equals 1 minus x, so to say. And now we need two different points. So to say, point number 1, let's take a look what happens when x is 0. How much is y? So y equals 1 minus 0, y, well, obviously y equals 1, yes. And let's take another point where, where x should be 1. And let's take a look how much is y. So y equals 1 minus 1, y equals 0. Yep, as simple as that. Let's quickly plot this one on our Cartesian two-dimensional graph. So what is it? We have one point where x is 0, y is 1. So let's stay focused. We have centimeters, so this is x and this is y. So we have 1, 2, 1, 2, and of course here we have the minuses as well, but we're only interested in this part for the time. This is the first quadrant. So x equals 0, here y equals 1. We have, this is our first point, and x equals 1, here y equals 0, this is our second point, and because it's a linear equation, we connect it. Okay, so far so good. This is what we have, and now we should simply solve this, plot it somewhere here, and see where they connect. Of course, we're not going simply to solve it, we're going to also to be exact in the point where they connect. Okay, what can we say about this one? Well, first thing first, it really looks like the standard circle equation that looks like something like this: x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equaling r squared. And in this case, h and k are center of the circle, and r, not r squared, but r is the radius. Okay, h, in our case, h equals 2. Yeah, so we go here, and k, in our case, k equals, here it's 1, but we see the minus, so it's minus 1. So the radius would be, I write it somewhere here, r would be 2 and minus 1. And I'm going to plot it nicely. 2 and minus 1 here. So we try to make some kind of squares that go like this. Okay, this is our 2 and minus 1. Now the other interesting part, the radius equals pretty much 8 squared, which is actually 2 times 2 times 2, which is 2 squared 2, which if you try to calculate even a bit more, it would go around, yeah, I'll say 2.8. It's not exact, but 2.8 is okay. So how much is 2.8 out of all the circles that I have? Roughly, I mean, we'll be rough, let's say, yeah, this one, and we are only in the radius, so the radius should be 2.8. Yeah, this one looks okay, the big one. Let's take a look. I mean, and thinking that this is the one we should be actually taking a look at. Pretty much 2.8. Yeah, I'll say this one looks okay. Roughly, the radius is in the center, so simply circle it. Yes, and now let's take a look. Where are the points of intersection between our line? Let's name our line here. It would be y equals y equals 1 minus 0. Okay, now how do we find the points, so to say? That's a great question, and the answer is we have a lot of ways. We have an easy way to just plot it into a Python code, but the standard way is to start calculating. So we get this one, x minus 2 squared plus y equals 1 squared equals 8. And in order to solve it, we replace y here with 1 minus 0, 1 minus x, so to say, because y here is 1 minus x here. Yes, so x minus 2 squared plus y minus x. I'll just put this one, but we don't need it. And of course, squared equals 8. So far so good. What do we do next? Yeah. 1 minus x. Nope. This one shouldn't be 1 minus x. It should be 1 minus x. Yeah. And this one should be actually removed. Yeah. Let's try again. And solve it once more, but this time more careful. Okay, x minus 2 squared plus, now let's, for y we write 1 minus x. So instead of writing y here, we simply write 1 minus x, and then we have here plus 1, so to say. Yeah, plus 1. Squared equals 8. So far so good. Yeah. So we do it a bit further. X minus 2 plus 1 is 2. 2 minus x squared equals 8. Now we have a standard formula set that looks like this. I'll write it here. A minus b equals, when it is squared, equals a squared minus 2ab minus b squared. Okay, and let's solve it with this one. X squared minus 2 times x times 2, so it's minus 4x plus 4. Plus, we don't need the parentheses, I just did it, yeah, because I did it. 4, this one squared, minus 2 times 2 minus x is against minus 4x plus x squared. And this one is 8. So you see these two actually rather equal. I would say minus 4x, 4 and 4, x squared. Okay, Now let's open them, and I'll just remove the brackets, not doing anything specific here, just rewriting the same thing but without the brackets. And now from here, what can we do? Okay, this plus is actually a plus, otherwise I would have removed it. And we have 2x squared minus 8x plus 8 equals 8. We will remove 8 from left and from right, and it is equal to 2x squared minus 8x equals 0. Next step is pretty much to put 2x outside parentheses as a common factor, 2x. From here we get x, and from here we get 4. Yep, x minus 4 and 2x, and this is equal 0. Okay, now that's a really good question. The first thing is, in order to find the two roots, root number 1 and root number 2, is when 2x is equal to 0, 2x is equal to 0, let's simply write it, 2x equals 0, when actually x equals 0. That's rather good, and this is our first root for x. And the second is x minus 4 equals 0 when x is actually 4. Yeah, so far so good. Now let's try to find the y values. And let's try for x1. I'll simply be writing here. Okay, x1 equals 0. So for 1, y1 would be equaling 1 minus 0. Obviously, y1 would be equaling to 1. Yeah, so far so good. So we can write our first point for intersection to be 0, 1. Yeah. For x2 is equaling 4. So here y2 would be equaling to 1 minus 4. y2 would be equaling to, I would say, minus 3. So what can we do here? 4 and minus 3 is second intersection. Okay, let's take a look at our graph here. This is the first one. No, 0 and 1. 0 on x and 1 on and 1 on y. Yeah, so to say here. No. Okay, 0 on x, 1 on y. Our circle should be touching the function somewhere here. Yeah, and the second place is 4 and minus 3. 1, 2, 4 and minus 3, and somewhere here. Well, at least this is what the graph says. Yeah, 0, 1 is that one, 4 minus 3 is this one. Ta-da. 4 minus 3 and 0, 1. Let's take a look now in Python and see whether we are good. Now let's take a look at the Desmos calculator, or we can do it even with the Excel calculator. But with this one it's rather visible. Although, let's take a look at the Excel calculator, and it should be like y equals 1 minus x, and the second would be x minus 2 squared. For squared we use shift and 6 plus y plus 1 squared equals 8. And yes, with this one we also see that our points are here and here. So to say 4 and minus 3 as we received, and here the touching point is 0 and 1. Although on our picture they were a bit different, then it doesn't matter. On this one they are correct. You probably think that this doesn't look exactly like a 0, like a round, like a normal circle. The question about it is that yeah, pretty much the settings should be the settings. This one is not a square for the settings, but is rectangular. That is not exact. And actually the reason for this I just found is because it is on my monitor looking like this. If you just put it like nicely here on something that looks like a square, then it is a square, obviously. So far so good. Let's take a look and solve this one with Python. So we take some imports, and first we define the symbols. So when we write X, we get this fancy thing, and when we write Y, we get this one. So next thing is to define the equations. Let's take a look. What do we get? Okay, for line we get this one, and for circle we get this one. Not so fancy, but the squares look good. And now let's solve it. Do you think it would be solved? Well, pretty much it's so quickly to solve it. And we get the two answers, 0, 1, 4, minus 3. What Python does below the hood, yeah, solves it obviously. And now let's find a way to plot the circle. Yeah. If you want to see some of the variables, how do we plot the circle? Just putting a lot of points around it, just with pi. And plotting the circle is pretty much, we just want to plot it. Should be something like this. And then PLT show, most probably should show a circle. Ta-da! Simple circle, but we need to also to draw the line. So let's plot also the line, plot the circle, done, plot the line. Yeah, I mean this is line X and line Y, so to say. We have a lot of points for line Y, 100, and the same amount of lines for line X. This is how actually we tell Python that we will be plotting stuff. Ta-da! Looks like this. It's a bit ugly, but we need to make it a bit beautiful with adding the intersection points and writing a nice legend. So how do we do it? Something as simple as this. We have the solutions here, so we have the 2 points. We just write them and they should become nice as this. I'm just zooming out. So yeah, this is how the whole thing goes. As you see, the intersection is, the one is 0, 1, as I already mentioned, and the other one is 4, minus 3. So we have the minus 3 here and 4 for the x-axis. So far so good. Thank you for watching Vitosh Academy. Enjoy the rest of your day or night and smile.